Hi guys, welcome to chapter 17. We're going to cover the endocrine system and the reproductive system, both the male and the female reproductive system in this chapter. We're going to start with the endocrine system though. We've talked a lot about the intersection of a lot of different organ systems and how they kind of work together. Well, the endocrine system doesn't really have like a location or a main organ. It really works along with every single one of our other organ systems. It helps us maintain kind of a balance of our bodily processes. Okay. So its main function is to produce hormones, which then control those processes. Okay. And hormones are chemical messengers that go and can increase production or decrease production of other things. It changes how we might respond to different stimuli. But hormones are also very much involved with our development. Okay, most hormones are the same between males and females. We have a lot of overlapping hormones. But when it comes to our development, our reproductive development, there are specific hormones for the different genders. So males have the chromosomes XY, and they rely on the hormone testosterone. Females with the chromosomes XX rely on the female hormone estrogen. Okay, and we'll talk more about those later. All right, so there's lots of different parts of the endocrine system. There's not, like I said, a main organ. Although you can make the argument that the brain is the main organ of the endocrine system because it controls all of the glands in our body and all the different organs that actually do produce the hormones. The hypothalamus is the part of the brain that kind of links the two together and controls all the rest of the endocrine system. Okay, so very close to the hypothalamus is a gland kind of tucked up in the bottom of your brain called the pituitary gland. And it's known as the master gland because it controls all the other glands. It sends out hormones that then turn those other glands on and off. Okay, and it also produces what's known as a growth hormone. That's what helps us get taller. Some people have problems with their pituitary gland, and they might get like ridiculously tall, or they might be really short. Okay, so if that growth hormone isn't being released properly, that can cause some problems with height. There's also your thyroid, which is kind of right down here at the base of your neck. It controls your metabolism. So basically, it controls how quickly or how slowly your body burns through energy. Sometimes when people have trouble controlling their weight, if they're very obese, it might actually be a thyroid issue that's causing them to maintain that weight, even though they're not eating very much. Okay. Your pancreas is considered to be part of the endocrine system. It produces insulin and glucagon to help balance the proper level of blood sugar. Okay. And then the adrenal glands. These are found right on top of both of our kidneys, and it produces a hormone called adrenaline. This is released with our fight or flight response. When you get scared and you feel that sudden increase in your heart rate, that's because those adrenal glands have released adrenaline. And there's other changes that hormone makes in your body, but the first one you probably feel is your heart racing. Okay. All right, then we've got the gender-specific hormones. So our ovaries in women produce estrogen, which then controls the development of the female reproductive system. And then the testes or the testicles in males produces testosterone, which then leads to the development of the male reproductive system. Okay. All right. So how does this function? Okay. Along with that function of just control, the endocrine system helps maintain homeostasis. Remember, there's a balance for everything. Your body wants things to be within a very tight range. Okay. So your endocrine system might use this thing called a negative feedback loop. All right. So let's talk about this with, let me get my pen. Glucose levels in your blood sugar. Okay. If your blood sugar gets to be too low, your pancreas will release something called glucagon, which then releases more glucose into your blood. Okay. So it increases the glucose. Well, then we get back here, maybe it gets too high. So now if the glucose level is too high, the pancreas is going to release kind of the opposing hormone. Insulin helps you actually digest the glucose. It actually helps get the glucose out. And so now the glucose level goes lower. Okay. And so it's kind of this constant up and down balance of trying to keep it nice and tight. Okay. Another big part of the endocrine system is puberty. All right. We're going to talk about that a lot with the reproductive systems. Puberty is basically the age at which males and females start producing those sex hormones. So when a boy starts producing testosterone, their bodies start changing. That's puberty. Girls, they start producing estrogen and their body starts changing. And it's not something that happens like that. It's kind of a range of time, and it might actually take a few years. Okay. Males get some of their characteristic male traits, like their voice starts to get deeper. They might start growing facial hair. Their muscles can actually develop into stronger muscles, and they will actually start producing sperm, which is needed for reproduction. Females will start producing estrogen, the ovaries will, and the female pelvis will actually start changing, okay, with the anticipation of a baby eventually going through it when they deliver a baby. So you'll see women with wider hips than men. That's why. That's a change in puberty. Breast tissue starts developing, again, with the anticipation of feeding babies eventually. And then females will start their menstrual cycle. They'll start their period, okay? So we'll talk about that. The menstrual cycle is not just the period, though. It is a month-long cycle, a roughly 28-day cycle of all kinds of hormonal changes in the female body. And the ultimate goal of it is to prepare the body for pregnancy, okay? So your ovaries will produce a higher amount of estrogen for a certain part of it, okay? And what that extra estrogen does is it causes the ovary to release what's called an egg. Okay, and we'll talk more about this, but basically you need an egg and a sperm for fertilization and reproduction. We'll talk more about that, okay? Once that egg is released, that's called ovulation, okay? So the egg is not always there. It's just there for a few days. Once it has been released, once ovulation has occurred, the lining of the uterus thickens. It gets thicker, anticipating a fertilized egg being implanted in it. That would mean the female is pregnant, okay? If it's not fertilized, then the actual period will occur. That's actual menstruation, okay? So menstruation is when that extra lining of the uterus, the thickened lining, kind of breaks down and it gets flushed out of the body along with that unfertilized egg, okay? And it's flushed out with blood also. And so that is what a girl's period is. It's sometimes painful, so be nice and sympathetic to girls, not make fun of them for that. All right? All right, you guys, we'll talk a lot more in class. Don't miss it.